G'day guys and welcome back. Today we are checking out probably one of my favorite decks that I got to play in the BT7 format, which is Blue-Green Hybrid. And the reason why I love this deck so much is because it's got some green in it. I started playing Digimon back in BT4, picked up 2 of the green starter decks and went from there. So green's my first love, and so it's really good to see in BT7 that green got some more support, made it a bit more competitive than it has been in previous sets. And I have played pure green, which I find is a bit more consistent than any of the mixed match colors of green, so whether it's red or blue in this case. But blue has some really good tech, some floodgates that stop some hybrid shenanigans, stop people using memory gainers outside of their tamers, and then plus there's some tamer hate in the deck as well. But enough talking, let's get into the profile. Alright, first up we are looking at our eggs. We are running 4 of the Upamon and 1 of the Yanyamon. So Upamon is in there because he's probably the best generic blue egg that we have access to. So inheritable when attacking once per turn. If your opponent has a Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards in it, we can draw 1. Yanyamon, inheritable is your turn while your opponent has 2 or more Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards in play. This Digimon gains 2000. So we're basically, Upamon's in there for the extra draw power, the extra consistency that sometimes we need, because we can brick because we're not the pure green version, so we're not as consistent as we can be. And the Yanyamon, great for that extra DP if that comes up. Doesn't generally come up, which is why he is the one of egg. And we do run 5 because we do have the Mimi in the deck, so we can kind of cycle through our rookies and our eggs fairly quickly. So we want to have access to 5. Alright, having a look at our level 3s. We will start off with the floodgates of the deck, I guess. So we're running 4 Madoki Betamon and then 3 Sayakomon. So Madoki Betamon on there all turns. Your opponent can't gain memory except with tamer effects, and then Sayakomon on your opponent's turn, your opponent can't reduce Digi-Evolution cost. So both these cards work really well against hybrids, work really well against things that like to run option cards to help gain memory, so things like your Jack Ray or your Hammer Spark, your Blinding Ray for the yellow players out there. Sayakomon just stops basically all level 5 hybrids from going down to 1 cost. Madoki as well can also stop things like Machine Drum from coming out cheaper as well. Turns off those Pokemons as well. The final blue rookie that we are running 2 Jamming Veemon. Jamming Veemon. He's going to be a free swing unless maybe you're running against, say, your purple or your yellow decks that have some removal, but otherwise he's going to live. And it kind of forces your opponent to tack into the Veemon, because he's always going to be a free swing unless he hits an option. So it forces your opponent to bring something out to swing over it, which is good for our green cards that we have in the deck. The final level 3 that we are running, we are running 3 of our good friend, the Bookman, Boko or Barokomon. So on play, search 5 cards from the top of our deck. We can add a hybrid or a 10 warriors, so we can search out our ancient beetles, and we can also add a tamer, and we run a few tamers here in the deck. So just great search, but does feel bad when you're bottom decking all your rookies, your level 3s, and your options, which all of them are quite handy for extra plays or just that extra draw power. So yeah, we're not running 4 for that reason. 3 I found is good enough to get the search that we need. Alright, moving on to the level 4s of the deck. We are running 4 Beetlemon. We are also running 4 Metal Kabuterimon, and then we are running 2 Arbomon. So all these guys can Digio on top of our tamers, which is really great, which is why we are running this many. We'll start off looking at Beetlemon. So Beetlemons, when Digivolving, reveal the top 5 cards, add a hybrid and a JP to our hand. So yeah, it can be really good early game when we're trying to find things like our Metal Kabuterimon or our Rhino Kabuterimon, or if we're just trying to follow up tamers, in particular JP. But sometimes Beetlemon, like later game, is not that good, because you don't want to bottom deck your ancient Beetlemon. You don't want to bottom deck those rookies. You don't want to bottom deck those options. So it's similar to Pokemon in that aspect where the search is really good, but at the same time, it can be a bit of a bummer. So maybe if you find that you're drawing too many Beetlemons, you just want to up the count of the Arbomon and maybe take out one Beetlemon. Metal Kabuterimon though, he is fantastic in this deck. So we can one cost evolve on top of level 4, which is great. Gives us an extra search, turns on things like our Nidhoggmon, which are running in the deck as well. But the other effect is that if we Digivolve on top of a hybrid or a JP, then we can suspend something with 6k DP or less, which is handy because JP gives him piercing, which is what we want. And then also we can go up into our Rhino for cheap and then into our Ancient Beetlemon, and then we can also get that trash as well as the pierce. And then Arbomon, it's just the generic hybrid level 4, 2 cost to evolve onto. Alright, going to level 5s, we are running 4 of the Rhino Kabuterimon, and then we are running 2 Blossomon. So Rhino Kabuterimon in there because he's the hybrid level 5. So if we have a tamer in the traits, we can Digivolve into him for 1, which is fantastic. So it's when attacking, is that if we have a hybrid or an Insectoid in his traits, which we will because all our level 4s are hybrids, that we can then go into a Digimon with Insectoid or Intent Warriors in its traits from a hand for a cost of 3, which is 5 for our Ancient Beetlemon. So we can reduce his cost by 2. So it has to be when attacking though. So generally you want to try and suspend something, say with your Metal Kabuterimon or a Thunder Laser, something like that, and then you want to swing into that with your Rhino going into your going into your Ancient, so you can get that trash as well as the Pierce hopefully if you have that JP underneath. And Blossomon's in there mainly because of the Digisorption effect. So we can go into him for free basically by suspending himself or another Digimon that we have on field. Just makes it a bit quicker to get up to things like our Ancient Beetle or into our Nidhogg if we just want to clear a wide board of little dudes. Alright, moving on to the Tamers. Because it's a hybrid deck, we've got a bunch of these in here. We are running 4 of the MVP, the main man himself, JP. So his main effect is we can reduce any hybrid we go into him by 1, which is great. Makes our Beetlemons, our Metal Kabuterimons, our Arbomons all 1 cost. And then if we have a Boko in play, you know, we're gaining in memory when Digivolving. If we have multiple Bokos, you know, we're gaining 3-5 memory there, which is fantastic. And his Inheritable gives anything piercing there, which is fantastic. The next one that we are running 3 Mimi, the BT1 Mimi. Mimi's in there because she's our memory resetter, but as well, if we have a level 5 or higher green Digimon in play, we can suspend Mimi to hatch an egg or to raise something that's already in raising there. So we can quite easily spam out an extra attack or 2 with Mimi, and if we have multiple out there, you know, we can do that quite a lot, quite efficiently, as long as we have the blue hybrids in hand. Sorry, the blue rookies in hand. Now the final of our tamers, we are running 3 of the BT1 Izzy. So Izzy's in there, so similar trigger for activation with Mimi if we need to have a level 5 or higher green Digimon in play. When we do, we can suspend Izzy to look at the top card of our deck. If it is a Digimon, there's no color restriction there. If it's just a Digimon, we get to add it to our hand. So really good to find anything really that's a Digimon in the deck, whether it's green, blue, or it's the white Pokemon there. Fantastic for an extra bit of search or consistency. And then plus, he's a 2 cost to play. So nice and cheap to get him out there. Alright, going on to the options of the deck, we are running 2 Thunder Laser. Thunder Laser, if we have a hybrid or 10 warriors in play, we can suspend one of our opponent's Digimon, 1 cost, which is pretty nice. Security, just adding to our hand there. We are then running 1 Ice Wall as well. Ice Wall is a good card, why not run it if we're running blue? So all of our opponent's Digimon gain when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of our opponent's next turn. Great to kind of stall for an extra turn if we just need to survive 1 more turn to get our winning turn in. And the security effect is to gain 2 memory. So very similar to, well, is exactly the same as the Hammer Spark there. We are also then running 1 Howling Memory Boost. Main effect on play, trash 2 Digi-Evolution cards from the bottom of one of our opponent's Digimon. Then something with no sources can't attack or block until the end of our opponent's next turn. Really handy main effect. Same with that stall if we're just trying to buy ourselves one more turn. But the main effect there as well, the main delay effect I should say, is gain 2 memory. So if we don't have our Mimi out, we get left at 1, but we need 3 to make some plays. We got that out there. We can use that, which is great. And finally, we are running 2 Forbidden Trident. So Forbidden Trident, 1 cost. Security effects is just adding to our hand, but the main effect is one of our Digimon gets 2000 DP, and the effect when attacking, return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand, trash everything underneath. So really handy against things that like to run lots of level 3s. So things like any hybrid deck, you got the Bokomons, in particular blue hybrid with the floodgates of Sayako and Madoki, as well as things like maybe Cherubimons that like to spam out a bunch of level 3s as well. So you're really handy against decks that like to use those level 3s, and the extra DP boost comes in handy quite a bit, especially if you're missing, say, like a level 5 in the deck, you want to beef up the level 4, and so you can still beat over something, return level 3, and then get the piercing if you've got the JP out there. Alright guys, that's the deck there. Let us know what you do different for that one. I know that a list very similar to this did fairly well in one of the regionals, not the regionals, one of the Ultimate Cups over in the US. So it's good to see something like this have a bit of success. But yeah, let us know your thoughts down below. Thanks for checking out the video. Stay beautiful, and we'll see you in the next one.